I have $30,000 in credit card debt.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dr. Doujinshi, and welcome back to another episode of Hentai Reviews. And I went looking around a little bit, and guess what I found? Ladies and gentlemen, the drip is back. The doctor is in. Let's go! Now that our initial excitement is out of the way, I'd like to talk to you today about our current review. You see, today we're going to be reviewing a little episode known as Succubus Yondara Gibo ga Kita, episode 1. Now, we're going to go to the complete other side of the spectrum as of last week, which I am still not over and which did not get nearly as many views as the other one that I did, just because it's an English title. Go watch it. I suffered for a reason. It is literally the previous video to this. I will wait. Got successfully scarred? Okay, now we can continue. You see, this episode is honestly, yeah, complete opposite. Not in necessarily a bad way, really. But let's go ahead and get into it. You see, this episode itself runs at about 16 minutes and 10 seconds. Done by our friends over there at Bunny Walker, which, at this point, I'm starting to figure out if they're actually a distribution center rather than an actual animation studio, because Bunny Walker seems to have their name on a lot of different stuff of varying different qualities. But I'm not really one to complain when, you know, quantity is quantity, and there is a lot of it these days. With a total of at least 12 categories, notable of which are job fairs, so, you know, everything's being used. Monster, really more along the lines in the technicality sort of sense. Succubus are monsters in the same way tieflings are humanoids in D&D, even though they're both closer. Honestly, Succubus are more demon, are less demon than tieflings, at least in appearance-wise, but I'm not here to judge. And swimsuit, which is also very sus on this one, because that one's a little debatable, but, you know, let's go ahead and actually get into, well, I had a structure that I had before, so let's go ahead and actually get into that. So, animation time. When we talk about the animation for this episode, I'd like to bring up the fact that there is something I like to discuss when it comes to things that I would say are middle of the road. You see, the term mid means middle, not bad, not amazing. They are mid. Middle. You clear? Okay, let's continue. The animation's pretty mid. Honestly, not necessarily the best, but it's consistently middle of the road. And I do really mean that in a consistent, strong. It does not fade away from the fact that its animation budget was accurately spread from point A to Z. It just keeps going, and it stays in that level of middle of the road. I really don't know how to put this, but the consistency of the fact that it's nothing special, I say gives it an extra point, up to a current 6 out of 10. So yeah. Now on to something a little bit more substantial. The plot. I know I don't mean the plot, I mean the plot, the storyline. Now, I can't really say anything special for it, but here's the plot synopsis. Kid has gone the entirety of his earlier life really just festering on the idea that I need to get laid, which, I mean, fair, most kids do think that, and it's pretty common, but this kid has taken it to the extremes in the idea that he knows a 100% guaranteed way to get laid, how to summon something that can definitely, well, suck is in the name, honestly, so that's a pretty fair point. He decides to go through with the ritual to summon himself a succubus, and exactly what you think happens, except the ritual is a little different, because I would not have expected it. You see, the ritual itself for summoning a succubus is go 72 days of No Nut November. You pussies out here are doing exactly what you want to think you can do. 31 days of just holding still and not nutting because you think you're a man. Go 72 days and you can perform fucking 5th level magic spells. Boom! Dramora. I hope you fucking suck at the next thing that you do, because you can't do that. 41 more days and maybe you too can be a man. 42 more days. I immediately misspoke. My whole point is moot. After going 72 days of No Nut November Plus Edition, he has the ability to finally summon something that can take his long stuck with virginity, and looks an awful lot like his mom. That's his mom! A little hard to get past that one. He goes through with it, only to reveal later on that it is secretly his mom, who is also a succubus in her prior life before having a child, and decides to keep that from him while also trying her hardest to kind of switch the personas, because they do live together and it gets a little awkward, and they hook up a few times. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and get into that. Actually, the story I'd like to say is a basic plot point that really doesn't bring anything new. It's very much a, what was that? And it comes out as kind of a 5 out of 10. It's a basic porn plot parody. It's kind of on the same thing as, oh no, I got stuck in the dishwasher. Step bro, help me out. Except it's stepson, and the mom is decently hot, except the dude has a shitty haircut, which I would like to bring up more than once, but I'm not going to. 5 out of 10 plot. And on to what we're finally really here for. You know what you're looking for. The plot. The actual scenes themselves. What can I specifically say about this one that I can't say about everything else? A little above average. Specifically on to the scenes themselves. Let's talk about them a little bit more. You see, our first scene is between a main character and definitely not his mother, Succubus, that he has recently summoned, who is trying to just dodge the issue of trying to explain why she looks like his mom and is also his mom, stepmom. I just want to say, before we get into that, this doesn't have the incest tag. This doesn't have it, which is, I mean, on a technicality, you're true, but anytime you have to bring up the fact that you're technically correct, you immediately mean nothing to 99% of the people, except for the 1% that really do focus on technicalities. So just bear in mind, there is no incest tag on this, even though there should. Scene 1 starts at 3 minutes and 40 seconds and goes all the way to 8 minutes on the dot, actually. Now, can I really say anything about this? It's pretty vanilla, honestly. Well, after what the last thing I reviewed came through, anything seems vanilla at this point. But it really does come through at a very vanilla rate, with only about 4 minutes and 20 seconds. No, 420, nice. But yeah, the decent one in the beginning. And then it goes on to scene number 2, which is actually the second time he summons her, and then pushes forward with the next few times, because he does summon her quite a few times before there is a decent amount of time in between our next one. Our second scene kicks off at 8 minutes and 55 seconds and goes all the way to 11 minutes and 20 seconds. Really, there's not anything special about this one either. It's very much a lot of the, stock standard vanilla sort of, yeah, that's about it, really. And then on our final scene of the episode itself, which did only run under a little over 16 minutes, is starting at 12 minutes and 30 seconds and goes all the way to 14 minutes and 35 seconds. Which, really at this point, are you sure it's not incest? I live down here in Tennessee. I know what incest looks like. I work with a lot of them. But this feels a little this is on the border, right? It feels like it. But there is one noticeable bit about this one. There's weird music at the end. Like, the music does not fit it. Like, they ripped it straight from a dating sim, like a kind of like one of those dating sims where you only really know it if you're into them. Like, it's not the mainstream ones, like, it's not like Sucker for Love or anything. Like, the music feels very generic in the background of a dating sim that most people don't know about. But it then, like, progresses forward to that. Like, whoever they decided to, like, do the music for this one, not really doing the best at their job, honestly. So, yeah. So, what are my ratings for the actual, like, scenes themselves in this? Honestly, I can't really say they're great, but I can't really give any negative things to them. I think they're on the same par with the actual animation. It's consistent, but it's not really, like, doing anything new, which is pretty good. Also, the swimsuit thing. She's just in her bikini most of the time, because Succubus bikini, yeah, that sort of thing. So yeah, honestly, it comes up at about a 6 out of 10 as well. So not really anything special. But I guess that's where we're landing at it. 6 out of 10 for the scenes themselves. And now down to the final thoughts on the episode. What would I give it as its final rating? Doing the math for each one of these, I can honestly say adding up, it does stick at around a 6 out of 10. I'm rounding up. I know 5.6 rounds up. Fuck you, I passed math. So 6 out of 10 really doesn't seem anything special, but as of our last few things we've reviewed since I started getting back on my schedule, episode 1 doesn't really have to be anything special, because episode 2 can do one of two things: show that you have lost quality, whether it be a lowered budget or a new fetish you've decided to throw in out of nowhere, or, and this is a big or, you double down, you know what you came for, you give more, and you give a lot more. Which, that's the one I want. And there is a second episode to this, and I'm praying for the second one. It's like a 1 in 5 chance, but it could be there. So, I can't really say anything special about this one, but I will keep my eyes on it solely for the fact that the second episode could be the step up. Or most likely it's going to be a step down. So, thank you everybody for being here. I have been the Doctor, and I just want to say thank you everybody for the support that I'm getting in here. Even the videos like the last one and Midsummer Night's Dream before that haven't really gotten a ton of views, but when it comes to just the overall like amount of respect, respect is a hard word to say, but the amount of like responses I get where I actually have like double digits, whether it be 10 to 99, I am so grateful for each and every one of you, and I just want to say thank you. Even my newest video is doing actually pretty good numbers for me, like taking months off before making a new one, and then actually having triple digits and going into like higher levels of triple digits really is a big deal, and I can't say thank you enough. Thank you everybody for keeping me going. Thank you everybody for, you know, making this shit possible, and thank you. So, remember, have a nice day, don't be a dick, there's too many of them, and wash your fucking hands. I've been the Doctor. Peace.